Hi students, I am Prakash, Chartered Accountant and acting as academic advisor in Masterminds from the past 20 years. Here is a short video introducing matchless Masterminds briefly for the convenience of the students who came to this channel for the first time. Masterminds was established in the year 2002 and has been acting as a reliable platform to offer coaching for CA and CMA courses. Masterminds is undeniably the pioneer and the leader in MEC, CEC, CA and CMA courses with nearly 20,000 admissions per annum. This is an incredible initiative by three edupreneurs, namely Mohan, Radha and Prakash, that is me. All three qualified CA at a very young age of 21 years and started this organization under the mentorship of my father, Mr. M. Siv Prasad Garu. So Mr. Mohan is my brother and Radha is my sister-in-law. And by the way, it's me, Prakash, Chartered Accountant. So here are the courses for which we offer the coaching. We offer coaching for MEC, CEC groups exclusively at intermediate level. And we also offer integrated coaching for MEC along with CA-CMA Foundation. And we also take exclusive admissions for CA-CMA Foundation or CA-CMA Inter. And we also offer coaching for CA-CMA final level as well. Recently, we have started a unique academic program at intermediate level, that is MEC Pro, aiming for the students who want to pursue BBA or MBA or CLAT courses in future rather than CA or CMA, and we have received a huge applause for the same. So 20 years of experience, and we have finished more than 155 batches of CA or CMA Inter in Guntur alone and similar number of batches in all our branches together. So till now completed 17 batches of CMA Inter and 18th batch is going on. Successfully completed 25 batches of CA final till now and 26th batch is running now, and we have also successfully completed 4 CA or CMA final batches in Hyderabad. So till now our students are able to achieve 990 All India ranks at various levels of CA-CMA courses, and our students are able to achieve first rank for 48 times in various courses for which we offer coaching. So in a single year our students are able to achieve 3 All India first ranks in the year 2020, and till now our students are able to achieve state first rank at MEC intermediate level for 18 times, that too 8 times in a row. In a single attempt, our students are able to grab 98 All India ranks at CMA Inter and final results of January 2021 and our All India ranks in February 2022 CA results. And here are the 10 All India ranks in CA final results of 2021 alone. And till now our students are able to secure 93 All India ranks at IPCCR CA Inter level in the last 9 years. And here is our physical presence: Guntur, Vijayawada, Hyderabad, Amirpet, Dilshuk Nagar, Vizag, Tirupati, Kurnool and Rajahmundry. And here are the locations where we have branches, and here are the contact numbers. Here is the list of our physical presence and here is the list of our online presence. And for your kind information, we don't have branches in any other locations other than stated here. So please do install our Android app Masterminds Online Classes from Google Play Store, and if you belong to iOS platform, then install an app called Class Plus from Apple Store and enter the organization code as MZGUN. In this app, you can find a large number of useful content like regular batch videos, crash batch videos, rapid revision batches, guidance classes, motivational videos, amendment videos, Masterminds test series, whatnot. Large amount of useful content is already available in the app. In our app, you can find a section called study material where large amount of free content is also available, and till now more than 24,000 students have already downloaded our app and we are nearing to 25,000. Sir, is it possible to interact with the directors directly? Yes. If it is an administrative issue, you need to contact Mr. Mohan sir on this mail ID. If it is academic issue, you need to contact me on this mail ID. So thanks to all our students who are our true brand ambassadors and who helped us to reach this position. All the best.
Hello everyone, greetings of the day. So today in this session let us see the discussion of RTP released by ICAI for May 2022 attempt. Now I am going to discuss Enterprise Information Systems RTP. So the first one is MCQ questions. So here a case study is given. Let us analyze that case study. The Printers Limited is the printing press that deals with printing of notepads and calendars and supplying it to various vendors, schools and offices. With an aim of expansion of their business and to enter into the competitive market with variety of high designed products, they purchased several state-of-the-art printing equipment in the year 2019, costing approximately 5 lakhs. The distinguishing feature of this printing equipment, if used optimally, enables the users to prepare any customized designs as per customer's choice on various daily use products like mugs, t-shirts, pillows, etc. However, due to lack of proper training, the employees in the factory of the company were not able to operate the equipment properly, thereby causing a delay in supply of the products against the orders placed by the customers. Few instances were registered where customers returned the products due to defects in designing and misprinting, and also due to delay in delivery of their ordered products. The company, being aware of the enormous benefits of e-commerce environment, has its own online platform where the customers can place their orders. To place the orders for their customized products, the new customers are required to fill an online registration form that captures the payment related information like account details, credit card details, etc., and upload the design and photograph of their choice at the time of placing the order. Though Printers Limited has made huge capital investment in the new equipment, however, there was a regular fall in sales and market share due to unsatisfied customers. On management's request, an expert, Mr. Amit, was assigned to assess the reasons for steady fall in sales, market share, and furthermore to suggest the improvements for overall business processes to increase the productivity and quality of the end products. He prepared a pictorial representation of operations and processing of these equipment to understand their working. After completion of his assignment, he suggested the following: to enhance the output and reduce the cost and generate a positive return on investment. And he recommended to have dedicated inspection officers for regular review of products before packing and delivery of products to customer against the present process of clearing products by the production in charge itself for packing and delivery. So this is the case scenario given to us. So this case scenario is mainly concentrating on improving the business processes. For improving the business processes, the concerned person has prepared a pictorial representation to give positive return on investment to the organization. And here some questions are given based on the case scenario. Let us try to analyze them. In purview of case scenario, the new customers are required to fill an online form that captures the information of their credit cards for payment at the time of placing any order. Whereas the details like credit card get pre-filled in the form of already registered customers. From which category of data of financial and accounting systems does the pre-filled data for registered customers get fetched in the online form? Here the most important thing is pre-filled data. So in our subject, in the chapter of financial and accounting systems, we deal with master data, non-master data, or we can also call it as transaction data. So what kind of data is counted here? So we are asking the customers to fill the form in a pre-filled data form, so that we keep it for future use. So definitely that comes under master data. So the answer is master data, because master data is taken from the customer for the first time and it is kept for future use and it is not thoroughly modified. So that kind of data, it is called master data. Whereas non-master data, also called as transaction data, keeps on changing. And accounting data and customer data is not at all relevant here. Now, Mr. Amit used flowcharts for diagrammatic representation to describe various business processes and operations. Identify the flowchart symbol used by him to represent the internal storage. So here 4 different symbols are given. So the first one is the symbol used for internal storage. In flowcharts, whenever we are drawing the flowcharts to represent the internal storage, we use this symbol. And this is a decision box to make if conditions and all, we use that. And this is a simple parallelogram which we use to take the data, and this is used for some other purpose, but the actual answer is this one. And in purview of the above case scenario, the customers may pay for his or her order using credit card. The following are the controls applied by credit card issuing authority except one. Choose the odd statement regarding the credit cards. So already we know the process of credit card handling. So basing on that, we have to answer this question. Batch processing of the reconciliations for the balances received from the credit card network with the transactions updated in the credit card system or credit network level. Interest on fund based credit cards is automatically calculated in the credit card system. Yes, that control will be there. Access rates to authorized credit limit should be restricted to authorized personnel. Yes, that also will be there. That is a control. And no transaction can happen if the aggregate limit of outstanding amount exceeds the assigned credit limit. Yes, these three controls should be there in the credit card system. So the odd man out is the first one, where the batch processing of the reconciliation for the balances received from the credit card network with the transactions updated in the credit card system or credit card network level. This is the odd man out, because this is not applicable in the credit card processing, and credit card issuing authority need not take this kind of control. Now the next one, the Printers Limited has its own online platform to promote and avail the benefits of e-commerce transactions. However, many risks are also associated with the online business. Which of the following does not fall under the category of risk of online business? So definitely denial of service is a risk of the online business. Already we have studied, we know that. So denial of service will not come here. And problem of piracy, yes, this is also a risk of online business. Repudiation of contract, that is denial of contract, is also a risk. So this one, elimination of time delays, this is not a risk anymore. This is not a risk. Elimination of time delays is the control that we have to exercise. Now the next one, in purview of the above case scenario, a control is well implemented in the payment gateway of Printers Limited that checks for authorized limit of the credit card of any customer when she or he places any online order. Identify the control from the following that has been executed in this case. So in purview of the above case scenario, a control is well implemented in the payment gateway of Printers Limited that checks the authorized limit of the credit card of any customer. So what kind of control it is? So here the most important word is checks for the authorized limit of the credit card. So it is not a preventive control, it is not a corrective control, and it is not an environmental control. These all things are not correct, because here we are exercising the control to check the authorized limit of the credit card. So definitely it comes under detective control. So the answer is detective control. Now let us move on to the descriptive questions in the first chapter, automated business process. So Mr. Rajesh and his team has been given the task to develop internal control policies and procedures for ABC Limited to safeguard the company's assets and to ensure the reliability of internal and external reporting. Internal and external reporting. Elaborate the components of internal control system that Mr. Rajesh and his team must take care to make the payment of the system effective. To make the payment of the system effective. So what care they have to take? That means this question is talking about the internal control environment. The components of the internal control environment. Let us see the answer here. The components of the internal control system. That means if an organization is having an internal control system, so what kind of components should be there? The first and foremost one is the control environment. The control environment should always be there. What do you mean by control environment? That means inside the organization there should be several policies and procedures. So inside the organization there should be certain policies, procedures, structures to safeguard the data, and we need to create such kind of environment where each and everyone is well informed. The board of directors, the senior management should establish the tone at the top regarding the importance of the internal control, including expected standards of conduct. That means the top level management should inform each and every level of the management in the organization to follow the internal controls and also to know the importance of the internal controls. Only then we can have a perfect internal control environment. And the most important thing is the governance and governance responsibilities should be strictly followed. And we need to have a very good organization structure which supports the internal control environment. And the second important component is the risk assessment. So generally every entity faces lot of risks, but the most important thing is we need to assess the risk, we need to define the risk, and this risk assessment involves a dynamic and iterative process for identifying and assessing the risks to the achievement of objectives. That means every organization will have objectives and we need to regularly in a cyclical way, because it is said iterative process. Risk assessment is not a one-time process, but it is an iterative process to identify and assess the risks. So why we need to identify and assess the risks? Because we have certain objectives. So if we have risks, we cannot achieve those objectives. So for that reason, we have to assess the objectives in an iterative manner, in a dynamic manner, and we need to make perfect risk assessment. And the best you do the risk assessment, the best you can follow the internal controls. And this risk assessment will be helpful to you to identify the risk, to assess the risk, and to know the impact of possible changes in the external environment. See, in the external environment, many factors changes, like the political factors, technological factors, sociological factors. They all may pose certain risks on your organization. So we need to assess all those risks. And the third important component is control activities. So these are the actions established through policies and procedures to help ensure that management's directives to mitigate the risks to the achievement of objectives are carried out. See, generally why we require control activities? We require control activities to mitigate the risk. And why we need to mitigate the risk? We need to mitigate the risk because we need to carry out our objectives. And control should be there at every level. At the low level, at the middle level, at the top level, we require controls. And what will be the nature of the controls? Some controls may be preventive controls, some controls may be detective controls. So we need to have all these types of controls to safeguard our data so that the assets and records, here it is given, assets and records are safeguarded, and independent checks on performance and valuation of records should be done. And internal auditors are also concerned with the administrative controls to achieve effectiveness and efficiency of objectives. See, these two things are very important, effectiveness and efficiency of objectives. That is very important. So it is the responsibility of the internal controls to ensure that the controls are followed and everything is carried out in an efficient and effective manner. And the most important thing is information and communication. That means in order to implement the internal controls, proper information has to be communicated to all the levels of the management. See, if the people at different levels of the management, if they don't have the information, then they are in a perplexed state, they are in a puzzled state, they don't know how to handle the things. So for that reason, we require information and proper communication about internal controls to all the levels of the management. See, here it is given, pertinent information must be identified, captured and communicated in a form and time frame that enable people to carry out their responsibilities. Here pertinent information, that means the information that is related to a particular department or to a particular level which is related to them, that has to be communicated, that has to be passed. Only then they are well informed and only then they can make the decisions in a better way. And here one more point is given, communication is the continual iterative process of providing, sharing and obtaining necessary information. So how information is passed? Information is passed through communication. You need to communicate the information in a proper manner, and it is not a one-time activity, it is an iterative process, means continuously it has to be done. And the last one is monitoring of controls. See, you have framed a control and you are following that control. It is not enough. You have to continuously and constantly monitor the control. It is an ongoing cyclical process. That means it is also an iterative process. It is an ongoing cyclical process. That means you have to constantly evaluate the controls. You have to combine two or more controls, and you have to identify which component is functioning properly, which component is not functioning properly, where you get the problem. So these all things you have to find out, and the findings are evaluated against management's criteria, and deficiencies are communicated to the management and the board of directors as appropriate. This is the most important thing. So if the internal auditors find some loopholes, some bottlenecks in the control system of the organization, immediately they have to be informed to the concerned authorities for them to correct. So these 5 things are the most important components of a control environment in any organization. What are the points? The first one, a control environment. Second one, risk assessment. Third one, control activities. Fourth one, information and communication. Fifth one, monitoring of controls. Now let us see the next question in the chapter. Information technology has touched every sector of business and has been instrumental in accelerating their growth. However, many crimes are also associated with computers. Henceforth, IT Act 2000 came into existence. Explain few computer related offences prescribed in IT Act 2000. So this is a very important question. So here several cyber crime scenarios are discussed. What is the first cyber crime scenario as per IT Act 2000? The first one is the harassment via fake public profile on social networking site. So someone creates a fake profile of you in a social networking site like FB or Insta, and they'll try to harass you. They'll put a bad mark on your character and they'll try to harass you. So that is a cyber crime. And second one is email account hacking. Your email is hacked by someone else and they cause great discomfort to you. That is also a cyber crime. And the most frequent thing which we are seeing all the time, that is the credit card fraud. So we need to be very careful with the credit card fraud, and that also comes under cyber crime. And web defacement. For example, an organization is having a website and that website is replaced with a defamatory page or a pornographic page. Whenever someone types the name of the website, instead of the original website, the pornographic site or the defamatory page appears. So that also come under cyber crime, that is called as web defacement. And the next one, introducing viruses, worms, rootkits, backdoors, trojans and bugs into the software. This is also a cyber crime. That means if someone has introduced the backdoors or worms or viruses or rootkits or trojans, see, these are all different kinds of malware. If they introduce all these things into your network, into your computers, then that also is counted as a cyber crime as per IT Act 2000. And the next one is cyber terrorism. So today we have a new definition for terrorism. Today we have cyber terrorism, which is very rampant. So what is cyber terrorism? Cyber terrorism takes many forms. The examples of cyber terrorism includes introducing viruses into your networks. Here one important word, vulnerable networks, means if your network security is weak, then it is quite possible for the people to introduce some viruses or malware into your network. Or website defacing, denial of service attacks, terrorist threats, these are all different forms of cyber terrorism. So that is also a cyber crime as per IT Act 2000. And online sale of illegal articles like sale of wildlife, sale of narcotic drugs, these all come under cyber crime as per IT Act 2000. And cyber pornography, so especially the child pornography is an illegal activity and it comes under cyber crime as per IT Act 2000. And phishing and email scams, trying to fraudulently acquire sensitive information from the people, acting as if you are a trusted entity. Masquerading means acting as if you are a trusted entity and getting the information. That is also a cyber crime. That is called as phishing and email scam. And theft of confidential information from the people. So theft of confidential information from the computer systems in an organization, that also is counted as a cyber crime as per IT Act 2000. And generally source code theft. Generally softwares have source code. So that source code is very important because we spend crores of rupees to make the software, and source code is the life of the software, and it is generally called as the crown jewel, means the most important thing. And if that is being stolen by someone, that is counted as a cyber crime as per IT Act 2000. So this is the question. Now let us see the next chapter. So the next chapter is financial and accounting systems. In that one question, unlike non-integrated systems in an organization where all the departments work independent to each other and use their own set of data, ERP systems use single database and contains data for various software modules. This distinct feature of ERP systems enables them to provide enormous benefits to an organization. Discuss these benefits. See, already we know about enterprise information, we know about ERP systems, enterprise resource planning systems, and they are integrated systems. And also we studied about non-integrated systems. In the case of non-integrated systems, what happens? There will be no integration. That means all the data is scattered. There will be no data integrity, and that causes a lot of problems in the organizations. On the other hand, ERP offers different advantages. So here the benefits of ERP to an organization are discussed. The first and foremost benefit is information integration. This is a very essential and very useful thing, information integration. That is, all the information is integrated so that people can easily update the data between the departments, between the functions. And if it is there, we can avoid many risks and frauds. So information integration is the first and foremost advantage that is offered by ERP systems. And second one is reduction of lead times. What do you mean by the reduction of lead times? That is, a customer placed an order and the customer has to receive the goods. So the time gap between placing the order and the customer receiving the goods, that is called as lead time. So whenever a company uses an ERP software like Oracle Financials or SAP, definitely they can coordinate their work, they can integrate their work, and so that they can easily process the transactions with the least possible time. And techniques like electronic funds transfer, where there is no need of any physical transfer of cash, we can make NEFT or RTGS kind of transactions, and we can move the documents in an electronic format, that is called as EDI, electronic data interchange. These all benefits a company will get if they use an ERP software. And the most important thing is on-time shipment. See, the competitive advantage is created to an organization only when they ship the goods on time. Promised time, promised delivery is the most important thing. And do you think that it is very easy in an organization to make on-time shipment? No. Lot of activities are involved, like planning, plant maintenance, sales, material management. These all activities have to be coordinated. And now if an organization uses ERP, they can coordinate all these functions and they can definitely perform better, and they can make on-time shipment of the goods and services. And reduction in cycle time. Reduction in cycle time means the time it takes to deliver the product to the end customer. If a company uses ERP system, then things become so easy, because the biggest thing is communication, integration. With the help of communication among the departments and functions, with the help of integration of the data of different departments, we can drastically reduce the time gap, we can drastically reduce the communication gap, so that coordination is increased, so that things happen on time. And the most important thing is improved resource utilization. See, if you look at the name of the ERP, it is just telling you it is enterprise resource planning. So what are the resources? Finances, marketing, plant, machinery, materials, these are all the resources. So if an organization is using ERP, it better it can plan their resources and they can make the optimum utilization of the resources. The inventory can be kept at minimum level, the orders can be processed, the finished goods can be delivered to the customer on time. So these all benefits will accrue to an organization if they use ERP softwares. And obviously, if an organization is doing all these things, if an organization has reduced the cycle time, the lead time, if it is making on-time shipment, then obviously there will be very good, better customer satisfaction. Better customer satisfaction is achieved automatically because we will be in touch with the customer, we will be tracking the orders of the customer, we will be informing the customer all the time, and customers can talk to our technical support departments and they can get things happen on time, and obviously the customers will get a lot of satisfaction. And also improved supplier performance, that is by using supply chain management, that is a very important thing. So by using supply chain management module in ERP systems, what happens is we can coordinate all aspects of the procurement. We can coordinate with our suppliers, and the order replacement, the stock replacement becomes very easy, and companies can maintain very good supplier relations. These all things happen. And increased flexibility. That means, see, the most important problem is the rigidity. Rigidity means the information is not flowed. The information is not properly communicated to the people who require it. But if you have an ERP, the entire organization make use of the ERP so that there will be an information integration. That means information sharing is possible, accurate information sharing is possible. Automatically there will be a lot of increased flexibility, and this increased flexibility is the need of the hour, because if the company wants to react quickly to the changing market conditions, this is the most important thing. And the next one is reduced quality costs. If an organization uses central database to reduce the quality costs, definitely it can offer better quality services and we can maintain good quality standards also. So, and also better analysis and planning capabilities. As the name itself suggests, we can better plan if an organization uses ERP to boost the planning functions. And improved information accuracy and decision making capability. This is the biggest bottleneck in the organizations, because most of the times they take faulty decisions because of non-availability of accurate information. But if an organization uses ERP systems, then they will have accurate information at their disposal, a relevant information to the decision maker, so that the decisions taken by the decision makers will have very high quality. And in ERP, we always use latest technology. Today we have cloud-based ERPs available in the market. Companies like Google, Microsoft, they are offering cloud-based ERPs, and we have open ERPs, so that we can use technology to the maximum at the same time using ERP also. So these are all the benefits that an organization accrue whenever they use ERP. But coming to the examination, it is not required to write all the points. It is just required to write 5 or 6 points depending on the weightage given for the question. Now let us move on to the next question. I hope that is related to XBRL. XBRL stands for Extensible Business Reporting Language, is a freely available and global standard for digital business reporting. Discuss key features of XBRL that makes it an international standard way to communicate and exchange of business information. See, today XBRL is widely used by the organizations for business reporting, because today companies are having multinational operations. They are operating in multiple countries. They are dealing with varied number of customers across the globe. So companies definitely face a problem of business reporting, because different countries will have different accounting systems, different nomenclature, different names, and different currencies. So in this situation, it is not very easy for the organizations to report their financial statements. So for that purpose, an XBRL is developed. XBRL stands for Extensible Business Reporting Language, and XBRL is an international standard way to communicate and exchange the business information among the companies. So what happens if a company uses XBRL? The first and foremost thing is the clear definitions. That means XBRL will have a thing called as taxonomy. A taxonomy means classification. We classify the accounting terms into different categories, and each item is placed under one category, so that there will be clear-cut definitions of all the accounting terms that are being used, so that there will be no issue to the companies when they are making the reporting. See, the problem comes in India. We may use salary, we may use the word salary, but in some other country the word compensation may be used, and in some other country the word remuneration may be used, and in some other country there may be no difference between wages and salaries. They may treat them as one and the same. So in this scenario, we need to have a clear-cut definitions of the words. So if you use XBRL, you will get the clear definitions of all these things. What do you mean by salary? What is remuneration? What is compensation? What is the wage? The difference between wage and salary? These all things we will get a clear definition. And who will give the definition? There is a consortium of accounting bodies across the world. They formed together and they made all these definitions into taxonomies, so that there will be a lot of clarity. And second one is testable business rules. See, the biggest drawback in financial reporting is testable business rules. The business rules can be logical or mathematical, or both can be used. So for example, if you want to stop some information being sent to a regulator or third party by being run by the preparer while the report is in draft, this is one business rule, a logical business rule. That means I am making the report. Until the report is finished, it should not be sent to anyone. This is one business rule. And poor quality of information should not be given to anyone. So if we use XBRL, we can avoid all these things, because XBRL will help the companies to prevent all these things. And next one, the biggest advantage in XBRL is multilingual support. That means, the biggest problem that is faced by the multinational companies is multiple languages. For example, if you are making transactions with a Chinese company, they use Mandarin language and you use English. So all your reports have to be populated into Mandarin language. If you use XBRL, yes, definitely you can do that, because you need not worry about translating your documents from English to the Mandarin. XBRL has that facility. And strong software support. See, today, starting from MS Excel to Tally to any accounting software, any prominent accounting software across the world today, they support XBRL. That means the financial statements that are generated using these accounting softwares can be exported to XBRL, and XBRL documents, XBRL reports can be generated. That means XBRL is supported by almost all the prominent accounting softwares across the globe, either small or big. So this is the most important thing about XBRL. And now let us go to the next chapter and study the question. Yes, here you can see. Yeah, the 10th question. This is related to information systems and its components. Information system control affects the working environment of an organization and are classified based on various factors like objectives of controls, the physical and logical security of resources. Describe the category of IS controls based on their objectives with examples. See, generally we know that the controls are divided into three. They are preventive controls, detective controls, and corrective controls. So this question is about that particular thing. So the classification of controls of information system, here the most important thing is based on their objective. So generally, why we design a control? It has some objectives. We design some controls to prevent the fraud from happening. We design some controls to detect the frauds, to detect the risks. and some controls are designed to correct the fraud. So we have basically three types of controls: preventive controls, detective controls, and corrective controls. So what comes under preventive controls? So training your employees, it is the biggest preventive control, and using antivirus softwares or firewalls or intrusion prevention systems. The organization should use all these things to prevent the risks, to prevent the frauds. So preventive controls are those inputs which are designed to prevent an error, omission or malicious act occurring. That means we want to prevent, in the first place, we want to prevent the malicious acts. So definitely we have to use preventive controls. And the next one is detective controls. What in the name itself it is there. What it will do? These controls are designed to detect the errors, omissions and malicious acts that occur and report the occurrence. So if a fraud is happening or if some checks have to be done, then those types of controls, they are called as detective controls. And this detective control may identify the account numbers of inactive accounts or accounts that have been flagged for monitoring suspicious activities. That means, for example, in a bank, a control is designed that if something has been done with the inactive account number, which is inactive for a long time, so definitely at that point of time, the detective control will be activated and appropriate action will be taken and informed to the concerned authorities. That is an example of detective control. And detective control also tells that the file is corrupted, that the message is altered. Yes, detective controls may take any form and shape like this. And the third and most important control is corrective controls. That means, yes, we have to correct the error, we have to correct the omission, and we have to correct the incident once they are detected. See, preventive controls are proactive in nature, whereas corrective controls are reactive in nature. This is the most important thing you need to understand. For example, a person is entering the data wrongly. So your system should correct it. Your system should tell you have entered the thing wrong. You have to correct it. Only then it should be accepted. Only then the data has to be saved. So these kind of controls, they are called as corrective controls. See, generally it is most efficient to prevent the errors or detect them as close as possible to their source to simplify correction. That means if your preventive controls and detective controls works well, then it will be very good. Easily you can correct the things. So that means rather than going for corrective controls, if your preventive and detective controls works fine, then correction becomes very easy. So that is the question given there. Now coming to the next question. In an organization, the database controls are used within an application software to maintain the integrity of data and prevent any data integrity violations. Discuss various controls under database controls to achieve this objective. See, what is the biggest risk or what is the biggest challenge? The biggest challenge to any organization is to maintain the data integrity. Data integrity means oneness of the data. There should be no unauthorized modifications in the data. So in order to maintain the data integrity, what kind of controls are required in the database? That is the question. Now what is the answer? So first of all, access controls. Access controls means what? You should not allow anyone or everyone to access the database. Only the authorized people having authenticated credentials should be allowed to enter into the system, should be allowed to use the data. That means we need to restrict the unauthorized access of the data. That means a very strict security policy has to be specified, strictly implementing the access control mechanism. Unauthorized people should not be in a position to access the data. That is the first and foremost thing. And second one is integrity controls. That means we need to implement some integrity constraints. Integrity constraints means, for example, a person has entered his age in a negative number. Age column is there. He has entered the age minus 23. How age can be minus 23? Age always will be a positive number. There will be no regression in it. So we have to check all these things. So to have a greater data integrity, we need to implement integrity controls by having integrity constraints and application software controls. Application software controls means what? See, generally we use different front-end applications. See, database is a backend and we use a lot of front-end applications. So we need to use the right kind of application software, that is the front-end, which is having very good update controls, which is having very good controls in place. Only then we can prevent and detect the errors very easily, and only then whatever changes you make to the database, that can be easily known. So for that we need to use very strong front end that comes under application software controls. And this is the biggest problem in the database: concurrency controls. That means the same record is updated by more than one person at more than one place at a time. So that creates a lot of problem. That creates concurrency problem. So we need to have certain controls to correct this concurrency. That means if one record is being modified by one person at one place, it should not be modified by anyone else in the world. That is concurrency control. And cryptographic controls. That means, you know, the data in the database should be stored in a encrypted format, so that if anyone tries to open the database, they should not be in a position to read the data, to access the data. Even though they access the data, it should be in an encrypted form, so that it should become unintelligible to the user to read it. That means he cannot read it. In that way, you need to make the data using cryptographic controls and encryption techniques. And file handling controls. See, we require file handling controls to prevent accidental destruction of the data. Accidental destruction of the data means what? Suddenly the file gets corrupted for no reason. So that kind of mechanism should be there, where if a file gets corrupted, immediately we need to repair the file, we need to access the file back, we need to recover the file. So we need to have file handling controls, and for that you need to require appropriate kind of hardware, software, and you need to offer better training to your operators. And the most important thing is audit trail controls. That means whatever is happening in the database, it should be recorded. Here audit trail means recorded. The chronology of events, the timing of events should be recorded, so that if something goes wrong, we should be in a position to identify where the problem comes. So for that we definitely require a log, an audit trail. An audit trail is nothing but a log. So that is required. Now let us move on to the next chapter. So the next chapter is e-commerce, m-commerce and emerging technologies. The businesses with the vision to anticipate change generally grab the trend before their competitors does, and certainly opt for online mode for their businesses. Therefore, e-commerce is happening trend in businesses nowadays. Yes, definitely. And briefly explain the forces underpinning the revolution of e-commerce. See, what is the question? So the question is, what is causing the e-commerce to grow? What is causing the e-commerce to propel, to flourish? That is the question. The first one is proliferation of mobile device. See, today each and everyone is having a mobile device. The mobile hardware has become cheaper, and mobile software has also become very cheaper. And today many companies, they are making mobile apps, shopping apps, and today we find mobiles even in the rural areas. Smartphones are being owned by people even in the remote areas, in the rural areas, and people are able to open the apps. They can do online shopping. So this is all happening because of the proliferation of mobile device deeper and deeper and deeper into the country, and convergence of mobile telecommunication network and the internet. That is a thing we know. Today we are using mobile phone for everything, for booking a movie tickets, to train tickets, to flight tickets, to purchase online, to get service delivery, everything we are using mobile, because today mobiles are having data connections. That means mobile telecommunication network is connected with internet. That means today we have internet facility to the mobile devices, so that internet can be accessed through a smartphone, and we could able to make online shopping very easily. And the next one is social network. See, today we see lot of advertisements in the social media, advertisements by Amazon or advertisements by some other e-commerce companies in the social media. And today many people, they are using social media platforms like FB, Insta and all. So it has become very easy to the e-marketers to market their products in the social media platforms, so that customers are watching that. For example, now for almost every YouTube video will have an ad, so that propagating the products, reaching the customers has become very easy. And the third and the next important thing is the growth of artificial intelligence. See, today we have chatbots. That means if you have any problem, you can log into the website of the company. If you have any problem with Amazon, so you need not talk directly to the Amazon representative. Amazon chat box will answer your queries to the maximum extent possible. Only when you are not in a position to interact with the chat box, or chat box is not providing the answers required by you, only then the human intervention will be there. Otherwise, the chat box will always guide you, will always help you. So that is possible. How chat box functions? What is the logic behind chatbot? The logic behind chatbot is artificial intelligence. And the next one is predictive analysis. Predictive analysis means this is the most important thing that the business people requires, because all the time they want to predict the consumer behavior, what consumer like, what consumer don't like, what color he likes, what volume he likes, what model he likes. So today there are n number of tools on the internet to analyze the consumer behavior. So companies are using these all predictive analysis tools to deliver the right kind of product to the right customer. See, actually this is the biggest puzzle, you know. Finding the right customer and delivering the right product to the customer is the biggest challenge the business people face. But today, with the help of predictive analysis tools that are available in the internet, these softwares will try to analyze your shopping behavior, and they will send reports to the concerned marketers, so that they send the right kind of notifications, they send the right kind of product advertisements to you. And that makes the life of the marketers so easy. And support of IT governing laws. Today almost every country is having IT laws, information technology acts supporting the e-commerce. And this has become the game changer, because today e-commerce has become legal, and today we are calling our country as Digital India, where everything is happening online. That means the laws are also supporting the e-commerce transactions. So this is about the e-commerce. That means these all factors, they are helping the e-commerce to flourish in the country. And now let us see the next question. Ms. Swati has been directed by her reporting officer to prepare a short report on blockchain technology and several risks associated with it. Elaborate in brief the factors that would form the part of her report. See, today very frequently we are hearing about blockchain technology, and whenever I say blockchain technology, for most of you, you remember Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency which is made using blockchain technology. Why the name blockchain? First, let us try to understand what is that blockchain. And by the way, this is the latest addition to the study material. Everyone should focus on this question. See, why the name blockchain? Here, in the blockchain technology, what happens is, instead of storing the information in a centralized way, we try to store the information in a decentralized way in different network servers. And here the word block, what do you mean by block? That means data, instead of being stored in the form of records, the data is stored in the form of chunks, data chunks, and those data chunks are called as blocks. A block is a collection. And what do you mean by chain here? These blocks are placed one after the another in a chain fashion. So these blocks of data, these chunks of data are placed in a chain fashion, hence the name blockchain. And another name for this blockchain is distributed ledger technology. Why it is called as distributed ledger technology? As I told you, instead of storing the data at a centralized way, here we store the data at different locations, hence the word distributed. And what do you mean by ledger? Ledger is record, ledger is data. So hence the name distributed ledger technology. So it is a shared peer-to-peer and decentralized open ledger of transaction system with no trusted third parties in between. That means you need not trust any third parties. Okay, the data is stored at multiple servers, and here there is no need of trusted third parties because all the data stored at different locations, they are formed into blocks and they are made into chains. And if someone changes the data, that is automatically noticed, and we can compare it with the original data and we can easily detect the frauds. That is the biggest advantage of blockchain technology. That is the reason today blockchain technology seems to be the most invincible, most secured technology for storing the data. And many companies, they are using the blockchain technology to store the data. And the another beauty of this blockchain technology is it is a append only database. Append only database means once data is stored, no one can modify it. You can just add the data at the end. Append means add at the end. That means already some data is stored and you cannot modify the data. You can only add the data to the end. So this is the biggest advantage of blockchain technology. And another important thing is all transactions are fully irreversible. That means once you make a transaction or once a transaction is recorded in the system, forever you cannot make the transaction, you cannot touch the transaction, you cannot reverse that transaction. That is the beauty of blockchain technology. That is the highest level of security being offered by blockchain technology. And as the data is not centralized, the data is not controlled by any single organization. That is another beauty of blockchain technology. As I have already told you, it uses a chain of blocks. Chain here, block means chunks of data. Data chunks means collection of data. Say some 5 MB of data will be treated as one data block, and another 5 MB another block, and one block is appended to another block. Appended means add at the end of first block you attach second block, at the end of second block you attach third block, hence it forms a blockchain. But there are some risks with the blockchain. What are they? With the use of blockchain, organizations needs to consider with a wider perspective, as different members of a particular blockchain may have different risk tolerances that may further lead to conflict when monitoring controls are designed for blockchain. There may be questions about who is responsible for managing risk if no one party is in charge of how proper accountability is achieved. That means in blockchain, the data is distributed, it is stored at different places and no one takes the responsibility, but there should be accountability. If something goes wrong, okay, we are saying that nothing wrong happens, but if something goes wrong, whom should be made accountable? So that accountability is missing in the blockchain technology. And the second important risk is the reliability of financial transactions depending on underlying technology, and if this underlying consensus mechanism has been tampered with, it could render financial information stored in the ledger to be inaccurate. Okay, say for example, we are telling that blockchain technology is having very strong, very secured algorithms, but what happens if these algorithms are tampered? Then you cannot handle the situations. And what is the another problem? it is a distributed network of data blocks. Means there is no central authority to administer. That means, for example, if a bank uses blockchain technology, the data will not be under the control of that particular bank. And if there are some protocol changes and all, who will do that? Who will take the responsibility? Who will implement the IT controls? Again, this is a big question mark in blockchain technology. And blockchain involves humongous data getting updated frequently. Risk related to information overload could potentially challenge the level of monitoring required. So, humongous means large, huge amount of data. So, every day, every moment, huge amount of data gets accumulated. So, who will monitor all those things? Who will check the information overload? Who will take care of upgrading the servers? Who will take care of the scalability of the infrastructure, the server infrastructure? Again, this is a big question. Of course, this is in the nascent stage right now, but in the due course of time, all these challenges will be addressed, and definitely blockchain technology proves to be the future technology for securing the data. Now, the next one, coming to the core banking systems. In core banking systems, information security has become critical to mitigate the risk associated with IT. Elaborate the sub-processes that comprise information security in this case. So, this is a very important question. So, let us move on to that question. Yeah. Say for example, the question is, there is information security in an organization. So, what do you mean by information security? When can you say that the information in a bank is having a lot of security? When can you say? In what case you can say? That is the question. So, now the answer is, every organization should have information security policies, procedures and practices. That means a detailed policies, procedures and practices have to be formulated by the top level management to protect the information, to have the security of the information. And that is the reason banks take KYC, know your customer procedures, these all things. So, this mechanism should be there in all the banks. And the second most important thing is user security administration. That means how users are created, how you define the roles and privileges, how you give access to the users, who can log in and who cannot log in, what are their privileges. For example, a clerk and a manager in a bank should not be given the same privileges, the same set of privileges. Depending on their job roles, you have to decide their privileges. So, that has to be done properly. And banks use different kinds of applications, and there should be application security like event logging. Event logging means what is happening in the system, who is logging in, who is logging out, what he is doing, what he is clicking, what he is deleting, what he is moving. These all things you have to focus. And the next important thing is database security. There should be enough security to the database software that is used by the bank. Security measures like role-based access should be given, and operating system security should be there. We should install perfect operating systems, and every time, every moment we need to update the operating system with the latest updates and patches. And we need to take a lot of care about network security. Bank should use VPNs, virtual private networks, for its employees to maintain the network security. And obviously the physical security, that means we need to have proper physical controls in place to ensure the physical security of the database in the bank. So, whenever these all types of securities are present, that is physical security, network security, operating system security, database security, application security, user security administration, and information security policies, procedures and practices, only then we can say that a particular bank is having very good overall information security. If something is missing among all this, so definitely some sub process is missing and the information security of the bank is not complete or comprehensive. Now let us concentrate on the last question. BNC Financial is a well-renowned mortgage broker company that is engaged in providing mortgage loans to potential businessmen for expansion or establishing their businesses. Write down various risks and their associated controls around the mortgage process. See, mortgaging is the most important activity in any bank, and several risks accrue or several risks arise in the case of mortgages. So, what are the risks that generally occurs in the mortgage process? Here we have to understand. First one, incorrect customer and loan details are captured, which will affect the overall downstream process. Yes, if in the first place, if you don't collect the data of the customers in a proper way, so there will be incorrect customer data. So definitely the data will be inaccurate, and the same inaccurate data will be passed on to the next level. So this is the biggest risk. So what is the key control that we need to exercise? That means an independent team should be there to check whether the details of the person who has applied for the loan is properly provided or not. And the second one, incorrect loan amount disbursed. That means the loan amount sanctioned to the person is 1. For example, we have sanctioned 10 lakhs, but the amount disbursed is 12 lakhs. So how we will control this? Again, we need to have an independent team member who will verify the loan amount to be disbursed. And interest amount is incorrectly calculated and charged, and this happens most of the times. Interest amount is incorrectly calculated. So we need to have a very good banking application, a very good banking software, thoroughly checked, thoroughly verified with a lot of testing procedures, so that the interest rate calculations, which is the most important thing in a banking business, has to be done in a proper way. And unauthorized changes made to loan master data or customer data. See, this quite often happens in the banks. Some people, sometimes employees or sometimes hackers, they try to change the master data of the customers. So that should never take place. That means the master data should not be in the hands of the lower level management. That means there should be segregation of duties. That means there should be segregation of duties between the clerk and the manager. Only the respective people who are accountable to that should have the access of that particular data, and the remaining people should not have any access to the master data. The access to the master data should be given only to limited people, and the remaining people can view the data but cannot modify the data. In that way, you need to design a control. So that is the most important thing. So this is the explanation of EIS RTP for May 2022 attempt. So prepare well for your examinations. All the best. Thank you.